President. This is the largest gathering ever for a webinar. The stadium is full, so full. And anybody says not, it's just fake news. So we're going to discuss the 7 supreme conjurations of the jinn. Now, first thing is, why do I call this a 7 supreme or 7 master conjurations of the jinn? In practical sense, okay, these are not actually the ultimate jinn conjurations out there. I mean, I know I called the ebook the 7 supreme conjurations of jinn or 7 master conjurations, but we do already know there are very powerful conjurations that can manifest the jinn very effectively and very fast. So why would I make such a title for this particular work? And the answer to this has to do less with it being really the supreme evocation of the jinn as being the best placeholder for the jinn kings of the planets. Now, most of the grimoires that we have work with the 7 terrestrial or underworld jinn kings, and these jinn are attributed to the planet by nature, not necessarily by essence. In other words, when we say Al-Ahmar is a jinn king of Mars or his day is Mars, we don't necessarily mean that he's from Mars or he evokes the planetary energy of Mars. What we mean is that his character corresponds with that attributes that are given to the planet. So he's warlike, he's arrogant, he's violent, at the same time can be very strong, he has armies, he's very militant, he will conquer any opposition that stand in his way. Basically, he embodies the energy of the planet as personal characteristics or attributes. Now, there are people on Earth, humans, who do the same thing. We have warriors, we have soldiers, we got boxers, we got daredevils, we got all kinds of people who literally manifest the energy of Mars in their lives on a daily basis, more than anything else. And we also got those who manifest the Mercury energy. They're writers, scholars, book learners, communicators, healers, thieves, all of the stuff, merchants, all within the energy of Mercury. So it's not just that the jinn themselves are limited this way, but in essence, even people can exhibit a very strong planetary influence. And we don't really tend to refer to them as, well, he's from Mars, he's from Venus. But we do say, well, yeah, he's a Taurus, he's a Leo, or he's ruled by Mercury, or, his astrological sign. So we understand the difference between a person and between the person exhibiting particular characteristics for whatever reason. So this is the basic idea. Now, the problem, of course, is that ultimately these jinn are considered brothers or related, so they belong to a kind of a mega tribe or father tribe. And aside from jinn infighting or politics, or one is dead, one is not dead, like in the case of Shamhorish, you're still dealing with a kind of a more underworldy type vibe to these beings, and they're not pure in the sense of being able to really manifest the full energy of the planet to you, because they're not actually attached to the planet itself. Does that mean they respond faster? No. To understand jinn response, we have to get an idea of what motivates them. So, for a particular jinn, for example, he might be motivated by friendship or similar mind, right? So if you're, a very devoted Muslim and then you're calling on a Muslim jinn, that jinn might, because of religious affinity, respond to you. There's also just personal like. There's also your offering the jinn proper offerings like incense and other things that jinn may ask or want. So if you're offering those things, then the jinn is quick to respond. There's of course also that evocation or conjuration, and whether that evocation or conjuration has a factor influence on the jinn. And the last bit, which is often not taken into account, is whether or not you're in a location to receive the jinn and where is the jinn actually located. So if, for example, a genie make his home somewhere in the Arabian desert, and I'm sitting somewhere there in Alaska calling on that jinn, it's gonna take a long time before that happens. First he has to he has to hear the call, and second he has to make a trip. And we assume these things are done instantaneously, but they're not exactly instantaneously. There's actually a time gap. For me, for example, often I feel like there's a jinn watching my house or outside the house, and they tend to be there on and off throughout the period. And when I move to a new house or I move to a new city or location, there tend to be no jinn activity. They're not there. It's like they're absent. But give them usually 4 to 5 days and they're there. So it takes 4 to 5 days for them to catch up and figure where I am and make the transition and move. It's not always instantaneous, right? There is a temporal aspect to the situation. So that also factors into whether or not the jinn is responding faster. I think people make the assumption that if you're working with something demonic, then the answer is immediate, the response is quick. This thing is just gonna pop in and just do what you want right away. While if you're working with something celestial, there's a delay, there's a gap, it may or may not help you. It's a very iffy proposition, blah blah blah. So then if you want guarantees, you work the demonic realm. Well, that is not true. I mean, it's a selling point, and you will see it promoted and marketed to convince you that the best thing for yourself is to work these forces and work these demonic realm. But it really doesn't work that way. Because if somebody, for example, has angered or is not in harmony with one of the jinn tribes, and he calls the jinn from that tribe, he's not going to get the help. And if he does get any response, it's going to be hostile. So it's really a very personal temporal situation, right? Plus, just as you can have an environment in which good jinn may not want to hang around in, like you don't want to call a good jinn in the toilet when you're taking a shit. There's also situations where the evil genie does not want to enter, and will not assist you or help you because he doesn't want to be close to whatever you're doing. So it really boils down to a lot of individual little things like this that determines the answer. But my interest has been more or less is, okay, if I want to work the energy of the sun, I can invoke the jinn king attributed to the sun in the Arabic text and madhab. But I've worked with al madhab, and I didn't really get a solar quality. Like, yes, he's noble, he's regal, he's royal, he's considered high status in his society, etc., etc. But I don't get the sun energy, right? It's kind of absent. So it always sort of bugged me that how do we work with the jinn at the same time really get the pure energy of the planet and not just the characteristics of the jinn itself. So this is one of the ways that we can achieve this with a supreme evocation. The other factor in is my own personal experience. Like when I was working the service of Badur, King Badur, and Howdab, the aid of Badur. Because of my work with the planet Venus, already in the past, in magical and mystical context, I had a very strong affinity to the energy. So when I was sitting there 20 years ago, wow, time flies, and I was thinking about doing an evocation for Badur, And then before I could, I didn't do the evocation out loud. I was just thinking, okay, in 6 months, I'm gonna dedicate a retreat, and I'm gonna go into this retreat, and I'm gonna call this Jinn King, and we're gonna have a chit chat because we're both very Venusian connected, and that was the idea, right? And it was a brilliant idea. It was so brilliant, the genie didn't want to wait. He literally showed up within minutes, and just moved this huge planter in the room that Francis was, and she's yelling at me saying, "Come into the room," and this is planter spinning. And to confirm, I said, if the genie that I was thinking about is present, uh, please spin this the other way. And it was moving pretty fast, the planter, and it just froze instantly, no delay, like instant stop, from rapid motion into instant stop into the other side motion, started rotating the other way. And obviously I could also feel the jinn, so this test was so secondary to what I was sensing. I just wanted to confirm, and that it's not just my own mind. So he answered very fast, okay? The other case was when I really needed help. Again, I called on this particular jinn for money situation, and I had 24 hours to come up with my rent. And at that time, I had $0 on the account. Something had happened. I don't want to go into the details. Just there was $0 in the account, and I asked for assistance, and I was expecting more or less, maybe some sale here, maybe somebody would lend me the money, maybe, I might win a lottery ticket, something like that. Something will happen that would help me. What I wasn't expecting was to go to the post office and see a check for $5,000. My rent was $600, so that's 10 times my rent, and basically, it was somebody paying for something they had already bought a year before. They paid twice on their own, willfully. And I was like, just flabbergasted. I was like, who pays for something twice? On purpose, a year apart. I mean, that's like buying a shoe, using the shoe, and going a year later and paying for it again. Your own shoe, you owned for a year. It was just bizarre, but it happened. So, that's the power of this. And I've used that particular, I wouldn't say covenant, because I don't actually have an official covenant, but I have, that connection with that Jinn Mobile once in a very positive way, and got very positive and seeming miraculous responses that just left me going, wow, this is amazing. Now, the interesting thing is this. The name is mathematically constructed, and it associates with Venus and all affairs of love, and it was just sort of left like this in the books for people to work with. And while other Jinn Kings have massive following and lots and lots of conjurations to go along with it, this particular one, it doesn't really have a lot of conjurations, and it's just kind of been mentioned, sometimes in talismans, sometimes in spells, or just as a name thrown in there, or it's just that name is important. They mention to you that it's important, and they're just gonna leave it, right? And you're gonna have to sort out the rest for yourself. And even the prayers or the conjurations, the abjurations for this name is it's very short. It's not a lot of foreign names mixed in, not a lot of complicated stuff attached to it, which tells us effectively that the name is so powerful that you can get away with using it with so little. That you don't have to invest, basically, a tremendous amount of tools and retreats and stuff, or foreign names and things like this, that you can basically get away with a simple prayer, and it works very well. So, being that it's very effective for all affairs of love, and Literally, I don't see very many other variations for love spells other than this. I'm not counting the ones involving Din, with the woman kind of go crazy and rush to your house and tear her clothes off and fuck you and then walk away dazed and confused and drunk. You know, those kinds of spells in Arabic books or lust spells or binding lust spells. They're not really love spells. They're not there to create love or relationship or friendship or enduring connections. It's a quick, dominate, control, get my sexual gratification and move on type of spell. It's very martial compared to the more lovey-dovey energy of the name and how it manifests in relationships and stuff. So, having said this, it became clear that we can take this and we can expand on it. And by expanding on it, we can have 7 basic set of names from which we can extrapolate a complete system, so to speak, or a self-contained system for working those energies themselves. Now, there is a malefic form of each of these names, which I have not included in any of the materials there. But yes, there's also a malefic form that can bring out the more negative quality of the actual energies of the planets and stuff to manifest all kinds of stuff in people's lives in not a good way. So I took that out, or I didn't include it, but it does exist. So what we will do now is we will take a look a little bit on these names and how to pronounce the various components of these names and how they work together to form a very effective system of magic on their own that can help both spiritually and materially. Okay, any questions so far? Um, I don't like to simplify things because I feel if I tell you that yes, a simple recitation of the name alone is effective, you will feel like I'm lying to you if it isn't. So let me just say that you can get away with less effort as far as complexity of working here than you would if you're working another type of jinn magic. It's very bound to retreats and the covenants and other stuff like this that can get very complicated. This one is a lot simpler. For example, just to give you an idea, me and Francis took the Ring of Solomon and we sat across each other, facing each other across the room. There's a few feet separating us, 4 or 5 feet separating us, even more actually. And we pointed the ring at each other and we just chanted the same name that I was mentioning earlier. And did this 5 minutes, I think, 10 minutes. And at the end, we had burns on our neck where the ring was aimed. I mean, it was like sunburn. It hurt for a while. I started bleeding. And that was just from pointing the ring at each other's face or head for like 5 to 10 minutes while chanting the name. Yeah, there's nothing psychological about those burns. It really hurt and it was really red. Yes, the name being Badua, exactly. The conjuration of Jan is um, really aimed at Jan and the jinn in general. Jan is specific and the jinn in general. And it's an interesting conjuration, but it's definitely laser focused. This is more planetary in essence. These Baduh names and other names. I mean, yes, they have jinn servitors, and we will call on the jinn servitors. But ultimately, the aim is to have an effective system of working with planetary spirits, so to speak. I know there's like the Arbatal with the Olympic spirits, and you got and you got all those guys. And back in the day, we just saw them as spirits, and these days they're classified as demons for some reason. But ultimately, you know, um, they appear to function like jinn, those guys. So I think they're kind of an equivalent to the seven jinn kings, at least as far as European grimoires were concerned. And so we're going to have the same result, just pure energy, faster response rate. I've worked the Olympic when I was in the Golden Dawn. I've had no physical manifestation that's worth mentioning at all. I may have some results as far as some things I've asked them to manifest or some working that I've done, but ultimately I didn't see any kind of physical level of manifestation that I got from working the name Maduh. I think the name Maduh, those four letters, as simple as they are, Maduh, just this name alone, um, it's responsible for five or six mind-blowing physical manifestations that made me go, wow. So that I can't think of anything else that I've worked with that have had that kind of effect. Yes, there's the gin that teleported the car. Yes, granted. Well, I just sort of mentioned them, Amina. The gin manifesting and moving, the money manifesting. Yeah, mentioned. No, I mentioned three, at least three. There's the gin manifesting and moving the. Um, yeah. Okay. I mean, some are personal. I'm not. I start going into some of the other ones, and I have to start mentioning people's names and stuff, and it starts to get, I mentioned the ring, I mentioned the burning of the throat, in the chest area. I mentioned the money, somebody paying twice for an object. I mentioned, the moving of the thing. They've been helpful in protecting against magic attack by a black magician that I know. There's a few things that I've done. Um, I can't really tell all the stories. I have to be circumspect as far as what I can and cannot share. Um, I do my best to give examples though. So, oh yeah, I know a black magician. I know many. I've lived with some too. Anyway, not my favorite subject. Actually, let's take um let's take this step here and let me show you a simple, well, not so simple, but a basic spell you can do to attract a boatload of cash for you. And we're gonna use an ambassador for that too, right? Now, the thing to keep in mind is that these names are mathematical. They're not just random. There's a pattern in mathematics. Both contextual as well as um, literal. Let's just kind of take a look here a little bit. I'm gonna see, I'm gonna put this microphone down so you guys can still hear me when I'm working. Let's take a look here. Okay, let's take a look, and we will write down the name Hab, Hub, and Wadud, or just Hub, Habib. No, not just Habwood. Wadud. Okay. So, or Hubwood. We don't even have to say just what, it's just like that. So Hub basically means love, and Wad is a kind of also love. It's just a bit more of affinity type, Hub is more romantic or just more general love concept, I love you type love. Wood is a bit more intimate, but it's also a um, less romantic. It's a kind of an, affinity type thing. And when you look at the letters and you organize them from small to big, you end up with Badur. So if you mix the two together and you just organize the letter from small to large, you get Badur. Okay? And mathematically that's also 2, 4, 6, 8, giving you all the even numbers in the digits from between 1 to 9, the basic digits, all the even numbers. So what we're gonna do in this spell is we're gonna go to eBay. No, I'm not gonna give you an affiliate link. Let's just humor me for a minute. We're going to get something that's not easy to usually find around you. We are going to get $2 bills, and we want this lot of 10 uncirculated $2 bill, crisp $2 note from BB back. Just the $2 bills. Now you're going to be saying, well, what do we need $2 bills for? Well, because it's number 2, right? It's Badur. It's all odd. So, I mean, it's all even. So we want even. And this is an even number. So if we go with 1 or 5 or 10 or 100, they're odd numbers. We have to go with the 2. And what we're going to do is we're going to take first $2 bill, and we're going to just write the letter B here, kind of in the corners. I'm using my finger. It's ridiculous. We'll just write it somewhere here in the corner, right here, BB. Or you can just write it in the outskirts of the bill, BB here, right? Just basically cover this with the letter B. You can even just write it around this entire grid. B, 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 letter bat in Arabic. This one. Just do that. Okay? So you can just do that. And then take your $2 bill and get 2 of them. So they add up to 4. And on those 2 bills, again on the border here, write the letter Dal. This one here. Dal. Write it all across here. Okay? Write it all across here. Then we get 3 $2 bills, because again that has a 6. And on them, on the margins, write the letter wow. Again, right here, wow, wow. On the outskirts. I don't know if the mouse is showing in the screen sharing or not, but just on the kind of like on the out border. Just write them in the out border. Wow, 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 letter wow, letter wow. On 3 $2 bills. And finally, get your 4 $2 bills and write the letter ha. This one here, ha, on the outskirt of the bill. Okay. Now, as you're writing the letters on the borders, you would write, for example, you write like the ba. So you write the ba and you breathe on it, b, 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 b. You write it on the outskirt and you go onto the border and you go b, b, b. And then as you're saying b, you say badur, badur, badur. Write it again. B, 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 badur, badur, badur. B, 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 badur, badur, badur. You go to the next bill, when you're to the next one. Dal, badur, badur, badur. Dal, badur, badur, badur. Then wow, badur, badur, badur. Then ha, badur, badur, badur. So now you've written breathe all around this whole thing. And my advice to really boost the energy of the timing is do it when Mercury and Venus are conjunct, sextile, or trine. Look for a sextile, trine, or conjunction aspect when you're doing this ritual. Okay? And if you can match that with day or night of Venus, like Friday during the daytime, or the evening time, which corresponds to Venus, I think somewhere around Thursday, then you will also get the benefit of that, extra benefit. So the more astrological component you add to it, the better, by as far as correspondence of timing. And then, if you could, I would definitely be wearing green, or if you can, just white, like a white robe or a green robe, while you're doing it, and burning some very sweet incense, mixing combination between Mercury and Venus incense. So, for example, you can take benzoin and you can mix it with rose, or some other combination of mercurial and Venusian herbs and smells. Just mix them together as your source and burn it during the entire operation and the entire working. And when you're done, now you have the name Badur and you have the evocation for Badur and the servitor of Badur in the report. So now you recite that on the money, and you ask the servitors to charge and infuse the money, so that as long as you're in possession of it, it will manifest to you the amount on the bills, 20-fold or 2,000 times fold, or whatever you want. How much money, how much more wealth you want to manifest, and just repeat the conjuration multiple times, and then asking again, and so that for every dollar you spend, it's a good way of charging it. For every dollar you spend, you receive 200, or you receive 20. For every dollar you spend, you receive 20 in return. For every dollar you spend, you receive 20, because 20 is the value of Badur. So for every dollar you spend, you receive 20 in return. And so if you spend $100, you get 2,000 in return, and so on. And just keep that going. And then what you do is you wrap this up with green thread. You cover it in white cloth, and you put it in your wallet. where the rest of the money is. And every time you hand out cash, okay, or use your ATM card or whatever, you chant Badu's name and the servitors, and kind of reinforce this idea that for every dollar you spend, you get 20 back. And recharge this at least once a month by just reciting, vibrating the letters and charging the evocation around it. So what's the question? I mean, does anybody have any question about this spell right now? Everybody spell? The money spell? Anybody want me to go back through and repeat any part of it? Did I just lose the money spell, guys? Come on. Amr, Amina, Dari, Michael, hello. Still with me? First one. You have to make the spell first. Otherwise, you might as well just give me the money. You ain't getting nothing back. Alright, so, Larry, did you get the whole thing? I just saw you in the room, so I don't know when you managed to get in. Thumb up, thumb down. You with me, Larry? Don't do this to me, Larry. Are you with me? Okay, did you get the whole spell? From the beginning with the $2 bills now. Okay, perfect. No? Not perfect? Where did you get in? What part did you miss? Halfway. Okay. Well, since it's not in paper, I'll kind of go through it again. Does it really work if you don't have pre-existing link to Badu and you just do it? Well, the assumption is always that you build the connection with the name first. That you didn't just open and do. I think if you are worried about the whole request thing from the servitors, then do about 20 days of Badu chanting daily, day and night, and giving blessing to the servitors of the name. I mean, that is the fastest way to service conjuration. A lot of people think servicing a conjuration is this very complicated, difficult thing. It's time consuming, but it's not complicated or difficult. Avoid everything that has to do with meat. Have a vegetarian diet, vegan is better. Burn the incense that correspond to the particular conjuration or jinn you're trying to work with. Recite the names without asking for anything. Don't ask for benefits, protection, or whatever. Just recite the names for the sake of reciting the names. Don't even really call the servitors to come to you. Just simply recite the names, and then at which point you say, by these names, O Holy of Holies, bless the servitors of these names with, and then you mention the servitor's name, and then you say, raise them to a high status, a high spiritual status, and then just end it that way. And do it every single day, night, day, night, day, night, for 30 days or 40 days, at the end of which, when you use the conjuration and call the servitors, you will have a very effective feedback. They'd be a lot more responsive to you at this point, because you've spent that last period of time just sending blessing at them, and as long as you need, or as long as you can do it. Really, I think we focus a lot about extent, and obviously, if you just do it once, it's just not enough. So you need to do it more than once. So we can say, do it 7 times, do it 14 times, do it, or in the case of Badu, maybe you can do it 2,000 times, day and night. There's different ways of managing the various mathematics of it. But ultimately, I'd argue that the most effective way for a beginner to measure this is do it beyond your comfort capacity, but not to the collapse capacity. So if you're comfortable chanting a name for 10 minutes, then your minimum should be like 20 or 30 minutes. Right? Double or triple your comfort capacity to push yourself and get yourself. And by extending your effort, the act of extending the effort also transfers or communicates to the spiritual power as your own commitment, that you're not just not invested. If you just stay within your comfort zone, then you can communicate that you're not invested. But if you do a double or triple that, you communicate you're invested. And that's very important part of the equation, is you show them that you're invested. So I would do this, and then I would do the spell or make whatever request. Now, if you've already worked the names and you're familiar with it, and you've done the prayers, you've done the conjurations, you've done all the stuff, then you can just start with a spell directly. But if you're not comfortable, then this is a better way of going about doing it. So to go back to the spell, Larry, because he kind of came in halfway. What we're doing here is we're using the name Badur, which is has been used in the past effectively for financial aid and assistance and other benevolent work. And you're getting $2, 10 $2 bills. And the reason for using $2 bills is because it's because it's even, and you don't want to use an odd number like 1, 5, or 5 or 10. And well, 10 is even, but it's too high of a number because it's not going to work for us here. So $2 bill, and then you write, in this case here on the first $2 bill, letters ba on the margins outside the border. And every time you write the letter ba, you write it and then you breathe on it, ba, and then you chant Badur's name, Badur, and you breathe on it, and then you write another letter ba, you breathe on it, and then ba, Badur, ba, Badur. And you do this for the entire border, front and back, for each of the bills. And you just take it from there with the spell, and basically charge it, empower it, and call on the servitors to assist you, so that for every dollar you spend, 20 comes back to you in some form or another. So you're always making 20 times more than you're spending, and therefore attaining prosperity and wealth in your life. Because ultimately, that's the key to prosperity and wealth, making a lot more than you're spending. And for most of us, we just basically make maybe like half of what we're spending more. So we're always kind of struggling to have a lot of money to save because we're always not making enough. So if you're making 20 times what your spending needs are, then you will have a very comfortable life. So we'll take a look here a little bit at the conjuration. I'm still kind of doing some editing of the report, so I'll send it to you when I upload the videos a bit later. Let's see where we have our Venus names. Here we go. And we have here the square. So in the case of the spell for the money, I would lay this out, this grid, on a cloth. So you're writing the bills on the cloth that has the square. And I would write down the angelic names also on the cloth around the square. Okay? And the angel that we have here is Badwail, 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 Bildail, 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 Tabhail, 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 Wizail, 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 Wahyail, 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 Kudail, 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 Zathail, 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 زد طائل زد طائل زد طائل بزيائيل 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 حكوائيل 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 حكائيل 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 حكزائيل 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 ححطائيل 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 كزوائيل 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 دبحائيل 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 ودكائيل 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 بحزائيل 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 يواوائيل 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 ليبائيل 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 ووحائيل 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 حطيائيل 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 زكائيل 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 لحدائيل 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 وقطائيل 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 حزبائيل 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 حيا حيائيل 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 لبكائيل 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 وحوائيل 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 ضلطائيل 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 حبائيل 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 لوزائيل 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 لووائيل 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 يووائيل يوائيل يوائيل حلالائيل 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 تطلائيل 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 دححائيل 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 ككحائيل 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 يددائيل يددائيل يددائيل. Okay, those are the angelic names. So now we have, oh, we missed two. Tizla'il, 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 and Htuba'il, Htuba'il, Htuba'il. Okay, so we have these angelic names, and if you're doing the service, for example, then you would recite the name, you would recite the angels, and then you would ask the angels to bless the servitors. And the servitors, which you didn't have in the previous report edition, I've included it here. We had the call to the servitors, but we didn't actually have the servitors. The servitors here is حودب 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 دوحب 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 بحود 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 وحبد 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 دبحو 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 حبدو 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 وادبح 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 ولز كحيط ولز كحيط ولز كحيط ولز كحيط ولز كحيط ولز كحيط يحكز لوط يحكز لوط يحكز لوط طلز كحي طلز كحي طلز كحي حكز لوطي حكز لوطي حكز لوطي يطلز كح يطلز كح يطلز كح كزلوتيح 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 حيطولسك 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 زلوتيح 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 كحيطولز 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 لوتيحكز 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 زكحيطول 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 وتحكزل 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 لسكحيطو لسكحيطو لسكحيطو. So those are the servitors of the names of Baduh that is used for Venusian work. So you would recite the angelic names, and then you would say, bless the servitors, and you would recite the servitor's name, and you would say, raise into a high status near your divine and holy light, and within the sphere of Venus from which they are connected. All right? So those are then, and then when you want to work with the servitors and you're ready to charge them, then you would charge them with the angelic names, and then you would charge them with the specific names that calls them. Boy, boy, let's boy, let us hackhead. Boy, boyo, let us hackhead. Boyo, let us hackhead. Boyo, let us hackhead. Boyo, let us hackhead. Daboyo, let us hackeh. Daboyo, let us hackeh. Daboyo, let us hackeh. Waltz, hackeh daboy. Waltz, hackeh daboy. Waltz, hackeh daboy. Waltz, hackeh boy. So I'm just working on the pronunciation here. Walters, hackhead boy. Walters, hackhead boy. Walters, hackhead boy. حد بويو لا تضحك. حد بويو لا تضحك. حد بويو لا تضحك. حد بويو لا تضحك. طاز حك حد بويول. طاز حك حد بويول. طاز حك حد بويول. طاز حك حد بويول. يلطز حك حد بو. يلطز حك حد بو. يلطز حك حد بو. حك حد بويولطس. حك حد بويولطس. حك حد بويولطس. كحد بويولط زح. كحد بويولط زح. كحد بويولط زح. زح كحد بويولط. زح كحد زح كحد بويولط. زح كحد بويولط. زح كحد بويولط. لطس حك حد بويو. لطس حك حد بويو. لطس حك حد بويو. ويلطز حك حد ويلطز حكدب. ويلطز حكدب. ويلطز حكدب. ويلطز حكدب. Okay, now you got them. Any questions? Easy to pronounce, yeah? Okay, you guys are still with me? Still here? What do you mean you guessed? Where did I lose you? If you're not, no, don't worry. I just want to make sure that you're left with information that you can use to improve your life. That's basically the only concern I have right now. And I know that material is powerful, so I'm just doing my best here to make it easier to use it, helping you with pronunciation, and giving possible applications by which you can incorporate the material. Now, talking about fear, if we're okay so far with Venus and Mercury bit, the money stuff. Actually, I probably should do the money names. I just realized I didn't do the money names. So let me go over here and just look at the Mercury names, just in case you want to add them to your working. Okay, so the angels here for Mercury are Wibail, 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 Kihyail, Kihail, 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 Hikyail, 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 Didwail, 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 Dabwail, 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 Dahabwail, Dahwail, 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 Yahkail, 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 Biyail, 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 Yikail, Yakail, Yakail. The servitor is Dikhibiu, 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 Yibihkdu, 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 Wadkahibi, 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 Bihik, Bihkdui, 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 Yudkahib, 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 Yahkduib, 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 Biyudkahi, 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 Hikduibi, 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 Yabiyodikah, 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 Kuduyibih, 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 Hibiyudik, 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 Duyibih, 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 Kahibiyod, Kahibiyod, Kahibiyod. So those are the servitors of the Mercury sphere, and the names are Wadiyi, 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 Yudi, 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 Bakbak, 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 Yoyod, 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 Heh, Heh, Kib, 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 Dayayu, Dayayu, Dayayu. Now, the advantage here, for example, working with the Mercury one, is that if you try to work with the Jinn Burkan, who corresponds Burkan Abu al-Ajaib, or Burkan, the father of wonders, the genie that correspond to Mercury, as far as I know, very few people have attained any level of result or success of manifestation working with Burkan. I don't know anybody that has. If there is, I've been putting a call out there for somebody to step forward and tell me of somebody that actually worked successfully with the Jinn Burkan. But here you know already that you can attain success, because this is not limited in the same way, and those forces are very powerful, very vibrant, very alive, and quick to manifest. So if we're here at the stage of Mercury, though, we did a little bit talk about Mercury and Venus for spells. But how else can you use Mercury energy, for example? What other spell you can apply it for other than money? Well, communication is one, language is another. Being able to gain better understanding of subjects and stuff like that. So how do we integrate this in a magical level? Whether you want to improve your understanding of various esoteric or material or mundane subjects, whether you want to enhance your mastery of language, whether you are trying to just gain better insight into reality and the people around you, how can you effectively use these names and this in a conjuration in a positive way to get those results? So I will show you here a little bit how you can do that. It will take a bit of finesse, but once I show you, you'll find that it's actually very easy to incorporate. Okay, so what we're going to do is go back to here, our initial screen. So let's say, who do we have? Who do we have here? Okay, let's see, we have Michael. Michael. Okay, mother's name is Amina. Father's name is Larry. And last name is Khan. Okay, we have our fictitious person, Michael, the son of Amina, the son of Larry, Khan. Are you all with me? Press 1 if you are. Okay, good. Good, 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 good. All right. Whoopsie, Michael. I think he got stolen by the porn again. Ooh. Okay. So be it. Even if he's not there, we will use him. Okay, Michael, Amina, Larry, Khan. I just Arabized the English names. And we want what? What's the goal we want? Let's say wisdom. The goal here is wisdom. So we'll just say hikmah, wisdom, wa ilm, knowledge, wa fahm, understanding. Okay, qawi, strong. So the person's name is Michael Amina Larry Khan. We're seeking wisdom and knowledge and understanding that is strong. Okay, so the planet that's going to achieve this for us is Utarid, Mercury. So we have the source by which we're going to attain this. Michael Amin Alari Khan, wisdom and knowledge and understanding that is strong, and the manifesting planet is Utarid. Okay? Better job. We just did a money spell, Amr. Come on. You don't work for money? Job is not for money? Okay. Well, you can put in here if you don't want knowledge and wisdom and you just want a better job, then we will just take that out. Say wazifa hasana. a good job. وظيفة حسنة, a good employment. You know, we can do it a number of different ways. Just put in whatever you want right here. You have the name, you have the planet. Just write down in Arabic whatever you're trying to achieve. And in your case, you don't really need to use Arabic. You can just use the Urdu, or you could just go with there, or and just put it in there. Um, so then the next step is we look back at this here, and we بحقد basically is the name that we want. We بحقد. So what we do is we have the name. We بحقد, and we will just mix Michael Amin Al Khan, وظيفة حسنة, good employment, عطارد, Mercury, with we بحقد. We'll just take one letter of one letter of the other, and we'll just mix them in. Make them permutate like this. See? You gotta mix them in like that. Just keep mixing with the actual sentence that is the main target or objective here that you want. Michael Amin Al Khan, good employment, and Mercury. Just mix وبحت, and you will have a sequence of letters. Now, you don't need to pronounce the letters as words. What you gotta do, obviously, is just actually separate them like that. We're just gonna separate them when we mix them, so that we're not really forming words here. Just a sequence of letters like that, and we're just gonna continue mixing them like this all the way to the end of the line. Once we have our sequence of letters, what you should do is write each letter down on a dish, plate, plate or piece of bread or any other kind of uh, surface that you can dissolve liquid from, in an edible ink, or just using honey or a little bit of saffron or anything else that's kind of like edible. Don't use ketchup. Anything edible. And what we will do at that point is we will write every letter and we will chant it again. Same way we did with the other one. Meme. وبحت وبحت وبحت. Wow. وبحت. And so on. For every one of those letters. And then you'll hold the dish or the plate and you will recite a call to the servitors here. يكحبيو, يبحكدو, those ones here, and call them by their charging name, wadi, yudi, backpack, yud, those, and then charge them with your objective, which in this case, I guess, is better employment, and say you want better employment, and then what you do after that is you wash that with water, okay, and then you take this water and you use it on your face and use it in your hands, use it in your body, kind of like a quick splash, so-called. And if you want, you can just also drink it. But in this case, you want it in your face because you want people to kind of feel the energy in your face and respond to it. Since you're looking for employment, if you are looking for greater wisdom, greater understanding, then you would just drink it because it's an internal purpose. You want the manifestation to occur within you, so you drink it. If you're trying to influence people looking at you or interacting with you, then you wash your face and you wash your body with it. All right. So this is the way to understand this. If you are trying to integrate it within yourself, you drink. If you're trying to use it to influence others, then you basically wash yourself with that. And then just keep chanting the name and keep making the request throughout. Because what do you mean, why? Any other name? It's Mercury. This is a Mercury spell because employment and work go under the category of Mercury. So wisdom, understanding, all of those go under the category of Mercury. So obviously you want to do it at that point. If you are looking to increase your prospects, as in the case of Amr Khan, then you would look for a conjunction between or sextile trine between Mercury and Jupiter. If you're trying to improve your understanding, for example, of intuitive matters, then you look for a conjunction between or sextile trine between Mercury and the Moon. If you're trying to improve your awareness and knowledge of music, then you look for a connection between Mercury and Venus. If you're studying to be a lawyer, for example, and you want better grades as a lawyer, better success as a lawyer, you look for a connection between Mercury and Jupiter, and so on. Basically, you're looking for those kind of connections, and then you would do the spell this way, like I just showed you, with the writing the person's full name, writing the purpose or the objective or the target you're looking for. In this case, it's a good employment or a good job, and then you put in the planet name Mutarid, and you mix it with the name, which for Mercury, because it's a Mercury spell, and that's a we bicht, and then you charge the servitors after you have had a chance to spend some time to bless them with their angels, right? And you call them with the servitors call, and then obviously it'd be best if you, of course, use the conjuration as well on top of all this to really get the results you're trying to achieve here, which is either good employment or better wisdom. Any questions? I'm on. Larry, Michael, everybody on board so far? Right message? I'm at a bit of a loss with that. What do you mean write a message? What message? Ah, okay. Weird. Okay, so next on our list, we will look at the most popular planet in the world. the winner of the sexiest planet, and every year's prom is Mars. So, when we look at Mars, one has to be a bit careful because Mars is actually a bit intoxicating. When some people work the energy of Mars, they feel powerful or they feel empowered in some way. And it increases they feel like because of this, there's a lot more energy is flowing, a lot more magic is flowing, a lot more juice is flowing, and they get hooked on it, and they continue to try and recreate that by constantly working the energy of Mars. So Mars is very addictive, and a lot of people don't get that or don't even look at it that way. Really, they just are manifest this energy in different ways, and they hook on it and they continue to manifest it, thinking it's the right approach. But the thing about Mars is that because it's a planet of power, basically, it will always make you feel powerful, but it doesn't necessarily make you powerful. The distinction is very important. You're borrowing that feeling of power from Mars, but unless you're actually manifesting Mars within your sphere, then you're just basically getting a high, which will follow with a low or crash. The other thing is, Mars is a warrior, so it's a very aggressive, contentious planet. And when you start to manifest that energy around you on a regular basis, you find yourself, well, in Mars-related situations where you're in a contentious, argumentative conflict zone. Okay, and you bring in the energy of power and aggressiveness of Mars, and it can be a bit of a vicious cycle a little bit there to break out of it. Now Mars is also the hypersexual planet. We talk about Venus in the context of love, romance, attraction, but when it comes to pure lust and pure sexual eroticism and true energy manifesting, you have very you need to bring in a strong martial quality, right? When a man is caressing a woman and being very sweet and loving and gentle, he's bringing his desire and his Venus to bear. But when he's like in kind of like rapid sex motion and huffing and puffing and shaking the bed and boom 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 boom, he's manifesting the Mars quality. So for a lot of people, Mars is addictive. Whether it's sports, aggressive sports, martial art, boxing, war, military, pornography, lust. We are pretty much in a martial society. We talk about politics from in a sense, especially if you're in North America, between democracy and anti-democratic forces, between this and that. But in effect, these are just distractions. The energy that dominates most countries who are powerful and able to bring the power to bear is war. Because again, it's a manifestation of power. It's another exercise of power. It's another exercise of the power of Mars. Okay. So having said this, and assuming your desire is not to bring in world peace by eradicating people's addiction to war, which is a very difficult, if not impossible task, really, because people are really addicted to violence because it's their smart nature. The question here boils is, how can I use that energy in a positive way in my own life, right? Well, you can use it um, to help sports. If you're a soldier, obviously it'll give you that boost on the battlefield. There's a few ways that it can be. If you're shy or timid and you can't stand up to your boss, then this martial energy is very effective at pushing you through, right? It's very effective for just lust, if you are lusting after somebody and so on. But these areas don't often become the focus. Like I don't really get many requests, hey Nineveh Shadrach, I'm a soldier, I need more courage in the battlefield, or I need to be stronger warrior in the battlefield, right? It's more a live or die kind of scenario for a lot of people like that. But what I do get on a regular basis is people who feel like they're the targets of magical attacks and they need help to defend themselves against psychic and magical attack. And obviously, Mars is a very seductive approach to dealing with the problem. The downside is that when I have seen people use that energy to dealing with adversary and enemies, is that victory can sometimes become cruel and capricious and vicious, right? You know, for example, I know one guy who felt like he had enemies at work that were constantly harassing him. He wanted to deal with the harassment. So what he did is he acquired himself a jar and he painted all kind of Mars symbolism in the jar. I mean, he Golden Dawn, Enoch, whatever he got his hand on. He just looked at all the books and found as many symbolism on Mars as he could, and he stuck them on this jar. And he filled the jar with things ranging from tobacco sauce to iron nails, right? I mean, he just stuffed it. It was big voodoo bomb ready to explode. And he even tried to bring it across the border, I think. Anyway, point is, the he went a bit further than normal by starting to inscribe the jar with demonic names and stuff like that. And then he started putting, what he would do is if he wanted to punish somebody that's harassing him at work, is he would put their name in this jar that was full of tobacco and other, bullets and other fillings and stuff like that, and kind of shake it and call on the spirits of the jar, the names written on the outside of the jar, to inflict basic havoc on the lives of the people whose names in the jar, and that includes suffering and disease and whatever they can inflict on his enemies to punish them for his harassment, right? And he started to go a bit weird with this, and it became a habit. He became addicted to it. It became the ring for the Hobbit. It became an obsession, like Gollum. And some of the people he put in the jar were like most likely dead by now, because they were, people he knew when he was a child that have long since moved on, and probably were in the 60s and 70s or older. So then he himself was in his 40s. So there's a downside to this, but it can still be useful. So I will give you a very basic technique to work with the energy of Mars to fight off opponents who will be coming against you. Um, So I don't recommend the jar technique because it's a slippery slope, as I said, and that guy was putting in people's names that he knew when he was in elementary school or first grade. So he was punishing first grade teachers when he was 45, 50 years old. You know, irrespective of the fact he might be dead by then, the teachers themselves, because he was 1 years old. I mean, he was in first grade when all that happened, in 1 year old, first grade when all that happened. So, how do we do it safely without attracting serious negative attention? So, what I recommend here is using Mars for victory, not to punish your enemies, not to hurt them per se, kill, murder, slaughter, whatever, but victory. And it's kind of easy to do. What you do is you create two effigies out of paper. On the first one, you write a square of Mars, the names, the angels, and on the second one, the servitors' names are there. And this one, so one one is effigy of you, and it has it has the name and it has angelic names, and the other one is an effigy of your opponent, as much as possible that you could imagine him or her, or just in general sense, and has the servitor names. Okay, and then what you do is very, very simple. You open by your own general working, and if you're the person that you're seeking revenge against is still around and still bothering you, then what you do is you try and get some information about them, if they will volunteer it, like their first name and so on and so on. And then the one that represents you, you draw a sword or attach sword to its hand, and the one that's your enemy, you place it horizontally under your effigy. So your effigy is standing on your opponent's effigy. Okay? And then at that point, you call the servitors of the names and the energy of the planet to ensure that you basically come out of any kind of conflict or adversity situation victorious. But no matter who your opponent is or how far their reach is, they will lose. Okay? Any questions? I think we have a bit of a whiteboard I can use to draw this on. Let me see. Okay, draw. So we will go back to here. So you guys will see, so the effigy, you, right? And then we'll put the sword in your hand. And here is your opponent's effigy. And on the here is the servitor name. While here is the angelic names. Giving you basically the authority to command the servitors in the case of your opponent, and then you go around and you watch them to make sure that your opponent is basically under your under will, basically. As far as the conflict is, I mean, you don't want to bind the person to your will as a slave or something. You just want to make sure that in the particular conflict that you're having with this particular person, whether it be job related or whatever, legal matter or whatever, that you arise victorious. Now, you're not killing them. This is not, it's not a slain position. It's just submitted to you. Okay? And let's get rid of this pen. And the servitors of Mars, I mean the angels of Mars, start with the angels of Mars, is Abjail, 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 Dihyail, 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 Wakdail, 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 Lababail, 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 Albail, 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 Dishkail, 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 Yishbail, 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 Bawawail, Biwawail, Biwawail, Dabhail, 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 Bidjail, 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 Bikhail, 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 Badail, 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 Walalail, 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 Joyail, 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 Dadail, 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 Babakail, Bibakail, Bibakail, Jibdail, 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 Dikbail, 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 Wajail, 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 Hidlail, 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 Duhail, 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 Yebail, 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 Hawail, 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 Lidbail, 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 Kidjail, 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 Jidail, 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 Layail, 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 Kikwail, 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 Adyal, Adyail, 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 Balhail, 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 Hihlail, 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 Kishbail, 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 Wibyail, 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 Adadail, 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 Dihdail, 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 Lakail, 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 Yababail, 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 Dikail, 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 Libdail, 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 Wahjail, Wahjail, Wahjail. And the names to call the servitors: Abij, Abijleh, Abijleh Dukdib, Abijleh Dukdib, Abijleh Dukdib, Bababijleh, Babijleh Dukt, Babijleh Dukt, Babijleh Dukt, جلحدو كدبابي جلحدو كدبابي جلحدو كدبابي دبابيج لحدوك دبابيج لحدوك دبابيج لحدوك احدوك دبابيجل احدوك دبابيجل حدوك دبابيجل يجلحدوك دباب يجلحدوك يجلحدوك دباب يجلحدوك دباب وكدبا بيجلحت وكدبا بيجلحت وكدبا بيجلحت كدبا بيجلحدوه كدبا بيجلحدوه كدبا بيجلحدوه دكدبا بيجلح دكدبا بيجلح دكدبا بيجلح لحدو كدبا بيج لحدو كدبا بيج لحدو كدبا بيج بيجلحدو كدبا بيجلحدو كبا بيجلحدو كدبا. Okay, and the servitors are Dishba, 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 Bijda, 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 Ajab, 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 Jdab, 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 Badish, 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 Dabish, 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 Jbad, 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 Bilduk, Wih, Bilduk, Wih, Bilduk, Wih, Yukid Libah, Yukid Libah, Yukid Libah, Hibal the Kui, Hibal the Kui, Hibal the Kui, وقت البحي وقت البحي وقت البحي يحبلدكو 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 كدل البحيو كدل البحيو كدل البحيو وحبلدك 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 دل بحيوك دل بحيوك دل بحيوك كو يحبلد كو يحبلد كو يحبلد لبحيوك لبحكيود لبحكيود دكو يحبل دكو يحبل دكو يحبل بيحك يدل بيحك يدل بيحك يدل لدكو يحب لدكو يحب لدكو يحب. Alright, so these are the names. You have the servitors' names on the bottom effigy. You have the angels on the top effigy, and then you call the servitors by these names that are in front of you now. And then you recite the conjuration and evocation of Mars repeatedly over the effigy and ask for the servitors of Mars to make sure that your effigy beats their effigy or that you beat them basically in whatever conflict you're right now facing. And that they basically become defenseless against your opposition and your effort and against your function in this conflict. You will become a total winner. Okay? Any questions so far? Yeah, if I translate it from Arabic, I'll write it in Arabic. It's kind of hard to backtrack on those ones right now because they were probably translated, partly not, and it will be a bit difficult to go back. I mean, difficult in the sense of time consuming, but not impossible to do, obviously. Okay, so we have Mars, we hit Venus, we hit Mercury, we hit Mercury, That leaves us the Sun, the Moon, Jupiter, and Saturn. 4. So we've done 3. There's 4 more to go. I think you guys are getting an idea of how to use this, I hope. The idea here is not to give you formulas to just simply copy blindly, but a kind of a structure that you can integrate into your work by seeing patterns, of how all the stuff can be combined and used together to achieve the result that we want. So let's take a look here, Jupiter, for example. Well, Jupiter rules two things: religion and law. The reason they put religion and law under the same category, because religion, for the most part, is about law, is about what's permissible and what's forbidden. It's another form of law, at least as the way it's often exercised. Rules and regulations, kind of like divine law versus human law, law for the spirit realm versus law for the material mundane realm. But it sort of like works together like that. We're not talking about spirituality or faith or divine connection or mysticism. We're talking about law, or it's commandments, it's Sharia. It's different religions have different words for the same concept. So when you're working with Jupiter, this is really its domain. It's considered the judge of the zodiac. It's not, its job is not to go in there and expand the size of your room and build you additional rooms. I mean, it is expansive by nature, growth oriented by nature, just as Saturn is restrictive by nature. But within the material mundane domain, it's religion and law. So if you want to attain victory in a legal matter, then Jupiter is your friend. If you are seeking success in any kind of religious endeavor, Jupiter is your friend. Right? So if you have a church, for example, and you want to succeed in the church, Jupiter is your friend. Now people will say, well, wait a minute, doesn't Jupiter also rule kind of land or anything like, or housing or anything like this? No. You take a look again at the zodiacal wheel, and real estate is not placed in the houses of Jupiter, which is the 9th and 12th house. It's placed in the 2nd house, Venus. So home, real estate possessions, is under the domain of Venus. So if you want to own more property, Venus is your friend. If you want to possess anything in the material world, Venus is your friend. Money is Mercury, possessions is Venus. So possessions in the sense would be considered collateral, right? So if you have a church and you want to possess the land for the church, then you want Jupiter Venus conjunction or Jupiter Venus sextile trine, because now you can combine the energy of Jupiter and Venus to expand the church. Venus being the real estate and Jupiter being the church or mosque or synagogue or temple or whatever else. So this is where that goes. If you're trying to negotiate a legal case to your favor, you're a lawyer, you're going in there, you want to negotiate a legal case, then you want Mercury, communication, negotiation, discussions, all stuff like that. Jupiter, legal affairs. You want Mercury sextile trine or conjunct Jupiter. And then you can build your spells from that alignment. Notice I'm always starting with the planets, right, guys? And I'm looking at the trine, sextile, I'm combining this and this, and saying you want this connection with this connection. If you ignore this aspect of the art, he'll be like a sailor who's pointing his sails opposite the winds, or who is not, who doesn't care where the wind blows. You just, you're gonna go whatever way you wish with your sails. But a successful sailor will always try to use the wind to his or her advantage. So this is very similar. We use the astrological alignment to our advantage. We see which one fits our purposes better, and we kind of work with it, versus just putting it out there whenever and not worrying about the astrological alignments. Because the astrological alignments is the wind. Okay? So let's say you have it now. It's a case of legal case. So you have Mercury and Jupiter, and they're kind of sitting next to each other in conjunct, and you're ready to do your spell, and you try to figure out what can you do. How would you go about doing the spell so that the person who is in court wins? Well, remember what we did before. We had the effigy of the victor under the defeated. The problem here, obviously, is if you bring in that kind of martial energy into the equation, you will suffer conflict. I mean, Mars and the last thing you want to ever do is bring Mars into the courtroom. That's guaranteed jail time right afterward. In court, you don't brawl, so you don't want to bring that force in there. It's not gladiators. You don't want to bring it in. So what you do in this case is you draw a scale, and then one scale is up, one scale is down. On the down scale, you write down around that bottom scale the name of the person whom you're contesting. It could even be the government if the government is charging you with a crime. So it goes on the bottom scale. The up scale, the victor scale, has your full name around it. So you drew kind of a scale effigy with you as the victor, okay? And then around the scale, especially around the top of the scale, in the area, just like general sense, you draw down the name of all the angelic servitors that rules over Jupiter. And then on the bottom of the scale, right, the bottom body of the scale, or just on the table upon which the scale is resting, you can draw like a table kind of shape. You put in the names of the servitors, so that you've materialized in a 3D image your victory, and you incorporated the angelic names and the servitors' names. Okay? And the process of writing this, like I described before, you write the name down, you chant it multiple times, you breathe on it multiple times, you write it again, you breathe, you chant, and it's just this constant process, right? And then around the scale, on the image you just drew, you write down the name that corresponds to Jupiter from the list, and you draw that again around it. And after you wrote, you write it down, the value, the mathematical value of the name. I have to recalculate, but let's just say, like 20, whatever. You write down the charge, which is so and so, I so and so and so will win against so and so in court for this case, blah blah blah, docket number, blah blah blah, etc. So you identify the exact docket number, the case, and everything. And then you recite the conjuration over it during the alignment, during the corresponding day or night, and then you cover it in a cloth, and you just keep it on you when you go to court. If you are the defendant, or if you're the lawyer and you're using Jupiter and Mercury, it's fine. You put it on you as you're arguing the case, and hopefully, every time you do that, you'll win. On the spell will work. Okay, so if I was to do it for real estate, for example, as Venus, right? Or religious function, let's say you want to communicate a religious message, so that will be Jupiter and Mercury. Or you want to be seen as an important religious figure. You want to be recognized as some kind of a pope or highly respected religious figure. Then you would combine Jupiter sextile trine, etc., the sun, because that's where you get your recognition. And if you're trying to have a more religious, mystical experience and feel the touch and feel the connection with the divine and have this very deep, very deep experience, then you would combine Jupiter with the moon, trine, sextile, or conjunct. Either way, okay, there's various ways of doing it. Since you're not trying to win a case here with the religious function, you don't need to draw an effigy of scale or anything like that. You can just do what we did before. Write your name, write the purpose, the religious purpose, and then write the planet, which is Mushtari, Jupiter. Right. So you would, like we did before, and we have Mushtari, Jupiter, or in separate letters, not cursive. This being cursive, this being non-cursive. Mushtari. And you just take it from that point and again, drink it for internal purposes, wash yourself for external purposes. Or if it's location oriented, you just try to manifest the energy in the location, sprinkle the liquids in the four corners of the location. Okay, and that will help you attain success in the field. I don't know how many of you even have anything related under Jupiter really at this point. I mean, the four people attending here. I don't think it's an area that's dominant for you. But for our other students or viewers in the future who might have Jupiterian concerns, this is the way to go about doing it. For legal conflict or legal matters, you draw a scale. For other things, you draw the letters, you combine it with the purpose on the planet and your name, basically. And then you drink it or you sprinkle it or you just put it in your body as a kind of a wash, perfume, so to speak. And obviously, you want to use a Jupiterian incense. You want to wear a Jupiterian-based colored robe, which I believe is blue. You want to do things like that, right, to further enhance the planetary connection, and to make sure that the planets that you're seeking to work with are aligned or aspected in a positive way, so you can get the result you want. Okay, the Jupiter. Let's look for the Jupiter names here, guys. That's not it. Jupiter. Okay, the Hebrew is the name. The Hebrew. And the angels are Dehyael, 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 Widyael, 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 Yubael, 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 Yehael, 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 Bidael, 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 Hibwael, 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 Biyawael, 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 Hibyael, 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 Dehyael, 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 Wadba'il, 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 Yuha'il, 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 Yayada'il, Yayada'il, Yadada'il, Yayada'il, Yayada'il. The servitors: يبح 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 حدويب 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 يبيحدو 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 بحدويي 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 يبحدوي 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 ويبحيد 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 ويبحيد. And the servitors are ويبحيد حيبيود 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 دويبيح 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 يبيودح 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 حدويبي 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 بيدحي 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 يحدويب 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 يدحيب 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 بيحدوي 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 وتحيبي 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 يبيحدو يبيحدو يبيحدو. Okay. So we have covered Jupiter here. Any questions? Amina, everybody else, Larry, Michael, who's with me? Okay, are you guys finding this useful so far? No? No questions? Okay. Are you guys finding it useful? Okay. Whoa. It's a doozy. We're down to a couple now. Sun, Moon, and Saturn. Well, Sun and Moon are pretty straightforward. The Sun rules health and vitality, basically, and also rules social elevation. If you want social popularity, you want recognition, you want to be seen as a star, social idol, whatever icon, the Sun is your friend. Moon is the exact opposite. It's feminine, it's nurturing, it's motherly. It rules the parents. It rules the while Venus rules real estate, the Moon rules inside your home, like the home atmosphere, so to speak. So if you want to own lots of homes, then you want a Venus Moon conjunction, and that can help you manifest a lot of property that is home property, housing property. So in essence, though, you have these two luminaries, the lights, and a lot of people skip those because they're like, what do I do with them, right? They tend to stick to the more basic. If you ask most magicians today, they'll say, well, we would use Venus for love, we would use Jupiter for money, and we would use Mars for, and for defeating enemies, and pretty much it stops there for the majority of people. Very few people check out the Sun and the Moon. And some of the other planets like this, the luminaries, they kind of skip them. But the Sun and the Moon are very critical because they are the two most powerful real planets within your zodiacal chart. The Sun being the eye or the consciousness, and the Moon being the subconscious. Okay, but we're not trying to get psychological here. But what I'm trying to say is that the Sun rules your visible status in the world, and your visible position in the world, while the moon rules your invisible station in the world, your hidden status. And people can look very simple to you, appearance-wise, or just the way they conduct themselves. And then as you explore beyond the veil, you realize they're very complicated. They have great talents, They may have great awareness. I mean, you see somebody like a homeless person on the street, the next thing you know, you're in the company of an angel, as they say. So that's a sun-moon dichotomy, right? The sun energy isn't very strong in that person's case, but the moon energy is very strong. So there's that external internal dichotomy. So how do you manifest energy in your life? Well, if you try to manifest health, again, it's pretty straightforward. You just write down your name, you write down health, you write down the sun, you mix it with the name of the sun, you drink it. It's easy. I mean, it's similar to what we've done before. I don't need to repeat the process in detail because it's straightforward. If you're trying to do healing for somebody else, you just write their name and you give them the liquid to drink. Well, we don't do anything successfully in life once. Like, we don't just go to yoga or school for only one day. So obviously, the more you repeat something, the better you're going to get at it and the more results you're going to get out of it. But the question here is, what is the right amount of effort? And as I mentioned earlier in the webinar, I would take your comfort level and multiply it by 3. Whatever you feel, come into this comfortably and multiply it by 3. Now, to go back though, what you do if you're trying to gain, for example, social status? Well, you would create an effigy again, and we did the scale for Jupiter, and we did another one for Mars. So what do you do for Sun? Oh, that's pretty easy. You draw yourself with a crown on a throne, and you draw a lot of people around you, kneeling in front of you or adoring you in some form. Basically, you draw the objectification of the start of the purpose, which is you're seen in high status within your company of society. And obviously at that point, you would write down the angelic names over your head like a rainbow, or like, shooting lights. And then on the crown or the chair itself, you would write down the name of the servitors. Okay? You don't need to be, I mean, you can, look, as I'm mentioning these things, you might be thinking, well, I gotta do a lot of stick figure drawing. Well, the thing is, not all of us are really artists. But you can take your idea, right, to an artist and explain what you want done. And if you went to the mall or those places, he says, okay, just give me a picture of you on $40, and I will pencil or I'll just quickly draw or paint an image of you on a canvas and give it to you. Or you can ask them to draw you as a king on a chair with people basically adoring you. And then you just write down the names yourself. It doesn't matter that it kind of ruins the art. It's the magical talisman. It's not meant for decoration. Just write it yourself at that point. Because you want to be the one that writes down the names, right? But you can even ask him to leave you space, the canvas, white space, where you can put in the names and stuff yourself. And you have a beautiful effigy of yourself in that position, and you charge it and you keep it wrapped up. Nobody in the world needs to see it. It's like your underwear. Nobody in the world needs to see that. This is the same thing. Nobody in the world needs to see it. It's for you only. Just do it, create it, manifest it, wrap it, hide it. and keep it on you. Same with the dollar bill. Keep it on you. Nobody in the world needs to know that that's in your possession. It's for you and for you only. Okay? So then you can use the servitors to bring you status. Then you'll be thinking, okay, but I don't really want to be a star in Hollywood. I'm not trying to be, the ruler of a country. I live in a tiny little town, or I work, in a company. Well, what will be a star in your case? What will be the king in your case? CEO, chief operating officer, senior management? Doesn't matter. There are many ways you can attain that kind of status within your life, and you can use the sun energy to bring that about by creating this effigy. So if you just want to be the boss of a company, you sit on the CEO chair and you have everybody kind of meeting in front of you, and then you just write down the logo of the company that you want to be CEO of, for example, as an idea. There are many ways you can adapt this to your purposes. The point is, create the effigy, write the names, charge it, consecrate it, recite the conjuration, wrap it, hide it, keep it on you. You don't want anything touching it, you just want it hidden. Right? And then, maybe once a month, take it back out, recite the conjuration over multiple times, make the request again, hide it. And when you're not making the request, when you're not charging it, make the effort to recite the names of the recite the names of the angels and send the blessing to the servitors. So that you are blessing the servitors for 3 weeks, and one day you're asking for something. Versus the only time the servitor's name is mentioned is when you want something. Like that can get a bit rude. So bless, charge, and empower the servitors for a period of time, a couple of weeks, once a day. Takes you 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then turn around, and when the day comes, do the charge and call on the servitors. They'll appreciate it. They'll appreciate all the spirit by which you are sending blessing their way and sending light their way and sending empowerment their way. And then you turn around, and at that point, you call them forth and say, I need help in this area. Voila. They'll help you out. Okay? If you look at what I'm giving you and think about all different facets of your life, I'm giving you literally a system by which you can work with the jinn, you can work with the planets together in a positive way to literally manifest in a positive way every single ambition you might have in life. Literally. Legal matters, resolved. Money, resolved. Love, resolved. Fun, competing with your opponent, resolved. Sex, well, you can use it. I'm not giving you the technique, but yeah, you can figure it out. Resolved. Loss of this area, resolved, 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 resolved. You have enough magic to literally focus on whatever you consider to be the weakness in your life and turn that around so that your life will consistently be what you want it to be as far as manifestation. Now, I'm not saying that if you do this kind of magic, you will never have problems, you never get sick, you will never get a divorce, or nothing bad will ever happen. There's no blanket guarantee that your life will be perfect, but your life will be a lot better than if you haven't used it. It will give you keys to change a lot of things that may be a block or a problem for you. Okay? And what about the moon? Before we do the moon, though, I should recite the names of the sun. Since I'm going through them one by one and helping you with the pronunciation, I should go back and find baby sun. Where are we? Where are we with the sun? Where are we? Okay. Now, for the majority of you, It's Sunday. It's Monday where I am, but for them it's 5:06 a.m. Sunday where I am, morning time. But for the majority of you, it is Sunday. So join me. Chant the names of the sun with me. Let's start with the actual name of the sun. He, hick. He, hick. Or if you want to split it, he, yihick. He, yihick. Okay? So you got to double the E. He, hick. He, hick. Then go, he, hick. Okay. We'll just do it that way. He, hick. All right, everybody. Everybody. Are you with me? Press 1. All right. Let's dance with the sun. He, hick. 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 Come on. He, hick. 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 he a huck, 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 he a huck. أجب أيتها الملائكة الكرام. هيائيل 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 هكاكايل 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 يهائيل 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 هيهائيل 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 يكائيل 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 كيا كيائيل 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 هكياهيل 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 هكياهيل. يا خدام هذا الاسم من الجن الكرماء الروحانية العلوية من فلك الشمس العظيم بحق هذه الأسماء هكيه 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 يهكيه 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 يه 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 يك هيك هي هي كي هي كي هي كي كي هي كي هي كي هي. أعجبوني يا أيها الجن كهية 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 يهك 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 هك هي هك هي هك هي يهك هي يهكهي 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 هيهك هيهك هيهك. All right, very simple. 5-10 minute working, very basic, very simple. How you all doing? No, I just recommended you them for exercises. Yeah, absolutely. Don't ask for anything though. Just give blessings to the jinn, and that's okay. We're all sleepy. It's 5:14 a.m. It's okay. I gotta wake up my stepkid in 15 minutes, and I'm ready for school. But I just want to give you the tools here that you need. Okay, so how's Amr Khan, Larry, Michael? Well, where did we lose Michael? Kidnapped him. Oh my God, Michael's been kidnapped. He hasn't answered one. You know what that means? We gotta go get him.
don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. If you are looking for ransom, I can tell you I don't have money. But what I do have, I have a very particular set of skills. Skills I've acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you. If you let my daughter go now, that'll be the end of it. I will not look
Well,
for
love
you.
him, Michael, but
I
we'll
will
call
not
him daughter
pursue
for here.
you. But if you don't, I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you.
Good luck.
All right, Michael, say one. All right, he's not here yet. Okay, guys, back to work. So, that leaves us. I should do the moon. The moon is fun. Jotib, basically. The angels are Jotail, Jotail, Jotail. Yababail, Yababail, Yababail. Wijyail, Wijyail, Wijyail. Yidjail, Yidjail, Yidjail. Jiwail, Jiwail, Jiwail. Tutbail, Tutbail, Tutbail. Bawawail, Bawawail. Yabtjail, Yabtjail, Yabtjail. And the servitors are Jabtio, Jabtio, Jabtio. Wishbati, Wishbati, Wishbati. Tiojib, Tiojib, Tiojib. And Yushbot, Yushbot, Yushbot. And Botyoj, Botyoj, Botyoj. Okay, those are the servitors. Call to the servitors. Oh, I didn't insert the servitors for the moon. How absent-minded of me. Okay. Well, let's do them since we're here already. Let's do the lunar servitors. Jotib. We use the same structure for Dwarf servitors as recorded in some of the older manuscripts. All right, quick one done here. So the servitors for the moon is بتوج وطيبي جبيتو تيبجو وجبيت يبجوت توجبي بجوتي and يتوج. So those are the servitors, and these are the names that call them that I listed earlier. They call the servitors. جبطيو وجبطي تيوجب يوجبط. Now sometimes the names will overlap, that's okay. It's fine. Okay, so now we've done this here. So that leaves us Saturn. Now the moon itself, obviously, you can use for dreams. So if you want to work with dreams, for example, you want answers in your dreams. Before I jump to Saturn, I should finish the moon. You can, if you want to have prophetic dreams and things like this, you would write the names on your palm, okay, and call on the jinn servitors to give you dreams that answer your question, and fall asleep reciting the name and the jinn servitors. Now you write, what you would do is in your hand, you would write the name in the palm. On the back of your fingers, you would write the angelic names. On the front of your fingers, you would write the servitors. And then you just lay the servitors and the name basically on your cheek, with the angelic names being on the outside of your palm. And you fall asleep. And as you're falling asleep, you're reciting the name, and you ask for prophetic dreams or for dreams related to a question that you want serious answer to from the servitors. So you're asking the servitors themselves to visit you in your dream and give you the answers, and you fall asleep chanting the names and repeating the question and request. Instead of counting sheep, you count servitor names. And you do this night after night until you get your answer. And usually you'll have things appear in your dreams that you will feel were not human. And in your dream itself, to be obvious they're not human. Or you will see, figures in white light or whatever, and or different images will pop up in your dreams that were very distinct. And you will have the answer to your question basically appearing in this case. Now, some people will just ask a yes or no and say, if the answer is yes, give me a sweet dream. If the answer is no, give me a really not so sweet dream, like a nightmare. And then if they wake up with a sweet dream, really, really sweet, sweeter the dream, the more of a yes. And if they wake up with a nightmare, the worse the nightmare, the more of a no. So this is one way of getting a generic answer without a lot of details popping up. Just sweet dream or a nightmare for yes or no. And you just repeat it. If you want specific information, of course, you can ask for that too, and just continue to repeat that in your mind with the names on your palm, and make sure you continue to have that palm situated. Now, if the jinn does appear in your dream, the jinn will also be present in your room. So don't be surprised if you wake up from the dream feeling something with you, because usually, the jinn is there before he goes into your mind, before he can influence your dreams. There's a level of presence that happens in your space. So don't be totally shocked if you wake up and you're like, there's something in my room. That's how it works. Okay. Now that leaves us with Saturn, last bit, last planet, and the hardest of them all, because in effect, it's the most malefic planet. And for a lot of people, finding the good in isn't easy, because it's literally, it's like, where's the good here? The planet Saturn basically rules fear. And by ruling fear, it rules weakness. And by ruling fear and weakness, it manifests restriction by withholding. What that means is this: if you have fear of poverty, and your weakness is lack of prosperity as a result of the combination. So fear of poverty, and then it comes with poverty at the same time. Now maybe you're afraid of being homeless, but you also don't have a lot of money. So the two of them will combine to make you withhold your income so that you don't spend it on anything frivolous. The problem is sometimes the frivolous brings blessings to your life spiritually, or it could be a financial investment in an idea that looks kind of crazy and dangerous that may actually bring prosperity into your life. So by withholding because of fear and by magnifying your weaknesses, bringing in challenge to you, Saturn basically ultimately binds you. You become a prisoner to that fear, prisoner to that level of manifestation that Saturn is manifesting. Another example, for example, another example. I shouldn't repeat myself. Another example is, let's say you have Saturn in the house of marriage. So how does that happen? Well, your fear is not being loved by your partner. Your fear is not being good enough for your partner. So your fear of not being loved by your partner, your fear of not being good enough by your partner, your fear of even being abandoned by your partner will manifest with another aspect of Saturn to put you into an abusive relationship in which you are scared to leave from it. Because leaving from it brings in your fear of abandonment, fear of not being good enough, etc., etc. And your fear of not being good enough, your fear of not being worthy of love, those fears bring in the abusive relationship in the first place. That just attracts it. So it attracts what weakens you and then binds you. That's how Saturn works. Because it rules decay and restriction, it's often associated with old age. In the sense that when you're old, you literally don't do shit. You're restricted by disease and old age ailment, right? And you're afraid of getting hurt or doing something at that point because you feel like I'm too old for this now. You're afraid to take the leap of youth because you feel you're old. Which it's, old age brings that, right? Now, biologically you're older, but maybe internally you're not. But Saturn reminds you of that externality, that you're older, and says, you're not doing anything, you're staying put. That begins to manifest even in middle age. It's what we call midlife crisis. If you take 7, for example, multiplied by 3 is 21, right? By 4 is 28, right? But, 7 by 7 is what? It's 49, right? So as you approach your middle age, 42, 49, that the full Saturn cycle basically, you look at your life and you go, damn, I'm getting to be, I'm in my 40s, I'm getting old. I can't do this anymore. I can't get a job here. I cannot, I can't go back on the dating circuit, or, you start to find excuses and reasons why you can't start something new or something fresh or something exciting because you figure you're getting older. You just don't see the opportunity being present. You're like, okay, if I start something now at 40, blah blah blah, but I'm 50, but I'm 60, by this, by that, my God, right? Scary. So you don't do anything. You stay put, frozen, and Saturn is happy, kept you there. So that's Saturn. It's the midlife crisis. It's old age crisis. It's anything that keeps you stuck. So how can it be used in a positive way then? How do we work out Saturn in a positive way? Well, that's the challenge. Um, Saturn can also bring in structure and order, and that's where Saturn comes into play, structure and order. But also it comes in play if you want to manifest restriction, sorry to say, in someone else's life too. So that's why it's also used often in black magic work. It's like the most common planet to be used in black magic work is Saturn, more than Mars. It's the number one ruling planet of sorcery. Not sorcery as in magic, in good magic, but sorcery as in black magic. It's the number one ruling planet of demonic working, telepathic working. Anything that's underworld based is under the domain of Saturn. Okay? So I generally don't choose the planet very much. I'm not a big fan of Saturn. Um, but if you need to really, really, really use it, it can help you work out actually your fears. In the sense that you can face your fears psychologically and do what you need to do to work through them. For example, if you're afraid of death, call on the angel of death. If you're afraid of fire, get matches and light them. If you're afraid of height, climb something tall. If you're afraid of flying, take flying lessons. So Saturn can help you recognize your issues, your shadow, and help you work through that energy out, right? And if it's used in a benefic way, right? For example, if you take Saturn and Jupiter and you conjunct them, for some bizarre reason, people who have Saturn and Jupiter conjunction, according to some analysis of thousands of charts, often tend to be very rich. And I can't explain it, but it seems to be in the chart of billionaires. They have Saturn and Jupiter conjunction, at least according to some astrologers. Anyway, I'm not going to give you a spell related to it because I don't actually work it very much. But I will help with the pronunciation of the names. So when you choose to, or should you choose to work with it, it's available to you. And the name is Zid Kakah. Zid Kakah. And the angels are Zidail, 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 Kiail, 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 Akiail, 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 Kakail, 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 Dakakail, 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 Yekakail, 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 Hehzail, 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 Hidzail, 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 Hadzail, Hadzail, Hadzail. The names to call Saturn: Zahki, 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 Yishak, 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 Dik, 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 Kizih, 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 Ah, 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 Kid, 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 Hkiz, Hkiz, Hkiz. So these are the names to call the servitors of Saturn. The servitors of Saturn, the jinn servitors here: Ka Kdiz, Ka Kdiz, Ka Kdiz, Yidka Kahiz, Yidka Kahiz, Yidka Kahiz, Zihka Kdi, Zihka Kdi, Zihka Kdi, Daka Kahzi, Daka Kahzi, Daka Kahzi, Yiz Hakakid, Yiz Hakakid, Ka Kahzi, Ka Kahzid, Ka Kahzid, Ka Kahzid, Diz Hkak, Diz Hkak, Diz Hkak, Aka Hizdik, Aka Hizdik, Aka Hizdik, Kdiz Hka, Kdiz Hka, Kdiz Hka. كح زدك كح زدك كح زدك اكديس حك اكديس حك اكديس حك حزيد حزيد كاك زيد كاك زيد كاك كاك ديزح كاك ديزح كاك ديزح. I pronounced it 3 times, so you can just replay this clip again back and forth in your private membership page, and you can listen to the pronunciations repeatedly till you get to the point where you can say them yourself. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. I'm not getting any questions. All right. For the last bit, now I've given you spells and techniques and I recited the names here. The next thing to keep in mind is that the convocations and conjurations alone can be used also as a system coherently for manifesting general results. For example, you can take a planet and work the conjuration of the planet on a weekly basis, and I would follow the sequence of the planetary days: Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So every day during daytime I would recite the conjuration that correspond to that planet, and during the evening I would work, because it's ruled by a different planet, I would do a different kind of conjuration. One in the morning, one in the evening, one in the morning, one in the evening. And I wouldn't ask for anything. Just simply ask to be empowered, supported, aided in all manners, related to the planet, or charged or infused with the energy of the planet. And just that, leave it at that. Don't ask for money, don't ask for love, don't ask for anything like that. Just basic empowerment. And do that for 1 year. And I think you'll come out of that a whole different person. You'll come out of it with a whole new perspective on life and a whole new experience on life. And things will start to change for you rapidly and immediately. Okay? That'll be my recommendation as a form of initiation, actually. The other thing that you can use them for is, remember the 360 webinar we talked about the zodiac and the planets and the signs and the degrees. So if you're working, for example, with a 360 gen and you're tapping into Jupiter in the 5th degree of, let's say, Libra, well, we generally just call on the genie that corresponds to the 5th degree of Libra, but you can also call on the genie that corresponds to Jupiter. So you can combine them. You can do the Jupiter prayer, the Jupiter evocation from the material that we have here, and you can combine it afterward with the servitor's name from the 5th degree of Libra, and you have at that point two very powerful combinations for planetary magic that can magnificently manifest a lot of energy in your life as positive. Because now what you're doing is you're going, okay, I'm gonna I want to work with Jupiter right now, and it's the fifth degree of Libra. So you call the genie for the fifth degree of Libra from the 360 list, and so you open a portal to Jupiter for me. Then once the portal is open, you recite the Jupiter conjuration from this material, from the seven supreme conjurations. You do the Jupiter conjurations at that point, and you let the spirits of Jupiter, the ones that the servitors of the conjuration, come through the portal basically and assist you in whatever area that you're seeking assistance in. So the two systems can now integrate wholesomely together, so to speak, right? Any question, guys? You all still with me? No? Yes? Okay. So, anything you'd like me to elaborate on at this point on the materials that I've just covered? I mean, that's the advantage of being here in a live webinar, is you get to ask me questions. All right. No, it's not about the recite it regularly because you're not doing it solo. After you do, see, if you take a look at the wheel, the planets are positioned on the wheel in opposition to each other. So, Aries in opposition to Libra, Taurus in opposition to Scorpio. Libra and Taurus are ruled by Venus. Aries and Scorpio are ruled by Mars. So there's the unifying force, the polarity. Okay? Saturday, is followed by the Sun and the Moon, Sunday and Monday. So when you do the evocation of Saturn, yes, you're getting that energy in your life, but then right after that, you're manifesting Sun and Moon. And that balances it back out. And you just keep going that way. So it kind of works out. Now, if you're just gonna do Saturn alone, that's iffy. You know, that's a bit risky. But Saturn can help you. There's a story in one of the old Arabic books about this guy who really made an effort to work with the energy of Saturn. And I guess somebody wanted to kill him. So the spirits of Saturn woke him up in the middle of the night and told him to disguise himself and leave the room. So as leave the house. So as the or you know, whatever his house, tent, I don't know what he was in. As the people trying to kill him got in, he walked out and they didn't notice him because Saturn was keeping him invisible basically, and just kind of got out, right? Another example of Saturn worked out was the story of this king who had an opponent, and this king worked with Saturn, and he evoked the spirits of Saturn to vanquish his enemy, and then instead of raising an army and going to war, he had a party. And everybody in town was like, "Oh my God, you're having a party. We have an army marching." He's like, "No, no, 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 no. We won already." Like, "What do you mean we won? Look at this army marching." And then a couple of hours later, somebody walks in the room in the middle of the party carrying a triangular dish, Saturn, right? Triangle, with the head of his opponent right on it, the king that was marching against him, severed dead and given to him as a gift in the middle of his body. That's how Saturn works. So it has its benefic points. It's kind of gruesome and deathly, but it's part of the cycle. So I'm not discouraging you from working with it completely. I'm just saying that the planet brings in a lot of harsh quality to it. So it's not something I advise people to work with on a regular basis unless they're balancing it out. And the big problem with a lot of people when it comes to magical practice is they get addicted to one particular energy. Let's say, Mars or Jupiter or whatever, and they just focus on that exclusively. So they lose balance. The point is to have the entire circle manifesting in a balanced way on a regular basis through magical work. So you can balance out all those areas in your life in a good way. All right. Well, that pretty much sums it up for us. So thank you guys for joining me at the webinar, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the Burhatia webinar coming up. We should have some fun with that one. And I would like to hear you guys having used the materials that I've covered at least today in some way or another in your lives, because ultimately it's just meant to help you. So use it. It's right there. And if you need any further help in any way, shape, or form, you know where to find me. You know where to contact me. I'm there for you. All right? Much love and light. The Burhatia is next week, Larry. 7 days, basically, from now.